The message arrived at 2:08 a.m. Keith Urban was asleep beside Nicole, one arm draped over her waist, breathing softly, completely unaware that his wife was staring at the glowing phone in her hand like it was a ticking bomb. Because the screen showed a name that should not exist. A name she had deleted, blocked, buried, forgotten. Except memories don't stay dead when someone else is keeping them alive. The message read, "I know what he doesn't. Call me." Nicole's pulse spiked. Her first instinct was denial. Spam, wrong number, a cruel prank. But the name on the screen, it pulled something deep and dark from the back of her skull, where certain memories lived like sleeping predators. She stared at the closed bedroom door, imagining shadows moving behind it. She stared at Keith's peaceful face and felt something inside her twist violently. And then, her phone lit up again, same sender. "You're not crazy? You're remembering?" Nicole's breath hitched. She did not respond. She put the phone face down on the nightstand, pulled the covers up to her chin, closed her eyes, tried to breathe. But her heart was hammering so loudly she was sure Keith would wake up. He didn't. He always slept deeply when he felt she was safe. Tonight, ironically, was the first night in months when Nicole realized she wasn't. It started the next morning. While Keith made breakfast, humming an unfinished melody into a mug of coffee, Nicole picked up her phone and reread all the messages. Nothing made sense. She had deleted that contact years ago, during a period she barely remembered. A period Keith never fully explained.
A period that felt erased, but not cleanly. More like pages torn out of a diary, leaving ragged edges. She remembered fragments, whispers, arguments. Keith's voice saying, "You didn't dream that. You lived it." But when she asked him what she lived, he would only say, "You don't need to remember everything." That sentence haunted her more than any memory could have, so she stopped asking. And the silence became habit, until last night, until the messages, until the past knocked on her screen like a ghost tapping on glass. Now she needed answers. She waited until Keith stepped outside to take a work call before she slipped into the bathroom and dialed the forbidden number. It rang once, twice, then a voice whispered, "Nicole." Her blood ran cold. "Who is this?" she demanded. A soft laugh. "You know." "No, I don't. Speak plainly." The voice said, "You disappeared." Nicole's stomach dropped. "What does that mean?" "You vanished from your life for 3 weeks." "I did no such thing." "No," the voice said. "Then why did he tell the world you were filming in Europe when you were here with me?" Her throat closed. "I don't know who you think I am," she whispered, "but you're mistaken." The voice sighed. "Nicole, you told me he would deny everything, that he always denies what scares him." Her heart stopped. "What did I tell you?" The voice didn't hesitate. "That you didn't belong to yourself anymore, that he watched you, that he controlled what you remembered, that he was rewriting your reality one day at a time." Nicole felt every muscle in her body lock. She couldn't breathe. She couldn't speak.
She couldn't think. The voice continued softly.
you told me you needed a witness, someone who could tell you what really happened. Her legs nearly gave out. What happened? She whispered. Silence. Then, you came to me because you didn't trust him anymore. Nicole grabbed the sink to stay upright. That's impossible. Is it? The voice said. Then why were you here, at my house, shaking and crying, saying he was making you disappear one memory at a time? Nicole shut her eyes. Her heart punched her ribcage. You stayed for 3 weeks, the voice said quietly. I have your things, your notebook, your letters. Letters? She choked. You wrote him goodbye, the voice whispered. Nicole's knees buckled. Goodbye? To Keith? She didn't remember any of this. Why are you calling me now? Nicole whispered, voice thin as paper. Because he took you back, and you vanished again, like you were erased. Nicole pressed her fist to her mouth, terrified she might scream. I don't believe you. You don't have to, the voice replied. Come get your notebook. I don't have a notebook. You do. I've never met you. You have. No. You were wearing a blue sweater and shaking when you arrived. You looked like a hunted animal. You said he'd convinced you whole parts of your life never happened. Her breath caught. And then, the voice said, even softer, you begged me not to let you go back to him. The line went dead. Nicole stared at her reflection in the bathroom mirror, but it didn't look like her. It looked like a woman standing on the edge of two realities, one where her husband was the only safe thing in her life, and one where he was the reason she couldn't trust her own mind. Keith knocked on the door. Nick? Everything okay in there? She swallowed hard. Yes, she lied. Breakfast is ready, he said gently. Coming. She stared at the mirror a moment longer. Then she whispered, Who am I? No answer came, because the woman in the mirror didn't know. Not anymore. Nicole sat alone in the guest room, the door locked, hands trembling over a small, unmarked flash drive the stranger had mailed her that morning. No note, no explanation, just a return address she didn't recognize, and a thin USB drive inside a plain envelope. She shouldn't have opened it. She definitely shouldn't have plugged it into her laptop. But curiosity wasn't what pushed her to do it. Fear was. Because on the front of the flash drive, written in black marker, was a single word. Listen. Nicole hesitated for a long time before she double-clicked the only file inside. The audio was labeled June 14, the night you forgot. She pressed play. Static crackled. A chair scraped. Then her own voice speaking in a low whisper. Are you recording? Nicole froze. She sounded exhausted, broken. Nothing like the composed woman sitting here now. A man's voice answered, but it wasn't Keith's. Man, you asked me to. You said you wouldn't believe yourself unless you heard it later. Nicole's heart slammed against her ribs. Nicole, recording. Okay. A long pause. Then, with a rawness she would swear she had never felt in her life, she heard herself say, He's rewriting me. Nicole gasped, pulled the laptop away from her like it had burned her, but the recording kept playing, the voice too familiar to deny. Nicole, slow down. What happened tonight? A shaky exhale. Nicole, recording. He said it didn't happen. He always says it didn't happen. Nicole covered her mouth. What didn't happen? Another long, agonizing silence. Then, Nicole, recording. I told him I wasn't happy, and he told me I never said that. Nicole's throat closed. Nicole, recording. He looked me straight in the eyes and said I was remembering wrong. But I wasn't. I know I wasn't. I felt it. A soft rustle. Maybe tissues. Maybe clothes. Maybe hands shaking. Nicole, recording. I can't tell anymore where his memory ends and mine begins. He speaks with so much certainty, and I start doubting myself, my feelings, my own reality. The man tried to keep his voice calm. You came here tonight because you said you didn't trust yourself or him. A sharp, broken laugh. I don't trust either of us anymore. Nicole felt tears forming. She didn't even realize she was crying until one fell onto her palm. Nicole, recording. He told me a whole conversation never happened, but I remember what I said. I remember the way he looked at me. I remember the silence afterward. A breath. Shuddering. Exhausted. Terrified. Nicole, recording. He said I misremember arguments. He said I misremember emotions. He said I misremember nights. Nicole's whole body tensed.
She didn't remember ever thinking this, yet the fear in the recorded voice felt achingly familiar. Why does he say that? Silence. Then the softest whisper. To win. Nicole's entire body went cold. He thinks he's helping me, but he needs me to believe his version of us. He needs me to be the woman who needs saving. If I stop being that woman, he won't know who he is anymore. Nicole inhaled sharply, because she had felt that. She had lived that. But she had never spoken it out loud. Yet her recorded voice continued. I don't think he means to hurt me. I think he's scared too. Scared of losing the version of me he built in his head. Nicole blinked rapidly, trying to breathe. The man's voice was low. And what version is that? Her recorded voice cracked. The one who always forgives him. The one who always doubts herself first. The one who never leaves. Nicole shut her eyes. Her stomach twisted. Because the next words came out in a whisper so fragile, she could barely withstand hearing it. I'm scared he's right about me. I don't remember everything anymore. Sometimes I think he's stitching my memories together for me, and I'm just wearing whatever story he sews. The man's voice was low. You said earlier you needed proof. Yes. So this recording is for you, for the day you tell yourself none of this happened. Nicole burst into tears.
Because the next line broke her completely in half. Nicole recording. If I go back to him and forget this night, promise me you'll remind me who I really am. Silence. A heavy, final silence. Then the file ended. Nicole stared at the laptop screen, hands trembling, breath ragged, heart split open. She didn't remember this conversation. She didn't remember this man. She didn't remember those weeks. But the voice was hers. The fear was hers. The truth whatever truth this was hers. The only thing she knew for certain was that when Keith came home, she wouldn't look at him the same way again. Now she had proof, or a weapon, or a lie. She didn't know, and that was the worst part. Nicole barely had time to wipe her face when she heard the front door open. Keith's footsteps moved down the hallway with his usual unhurried rhythm. Soft heel, gentle step, the gait of a man who never wanted to disturb anyone. Ordinarily, that comforted her. Today, it made her sick. She snapped the laptop shut, shoved the USB under a stack of magazines, and forced herself to sit still. Her hands weren't steady. Her breath wasn't steady. Her mind wasn't steady. But she had to look calm. When Keith stepped into the doorway, carrying grocery bags, smiling that soft morning smile he always gave her, Nicole almost convinced herself she could pull it off. Almost. Until she saw his eyes. He only looked at her for a fraction of a second, but something in that look made her skin crawl. Because it wasn't confusion, it wasn't concern, it wasn't affection, it was recognition and a flicker of something else. Something like, "Ah, she found it." Nicole's stomach nodded. She felt it instantly, like he was scanning her face, searching for evidence, emotion, panic, guilt, knowledge. Her mind raced. Did he know she had listened? Did he know about the flash drive? Did he know the past she had clawed open? "Morning," he said, gently, placing the grocery bags down. "You're up early." "Couldn't sleep," she said, too quickly. His eyes narrowed by a millimeter, barely perceptible, but unmistakable to a woman who had spent nearly 2 decades reading him like sheet music. "You okay?" he asked softly. Nicole nodded, then regretted nodding, because people who lie nod too much. But Keith didn't push, not yet. He simply walked toward her and touched her cheek with the back of his hand, the way he always did when he wanted to read her emotional temperature. Her whole body went cold. He noticed. His fingers paused. "You're shaking," he said. "No," she lied. "Just chilly. Window's open." He glanced toward the window. It wasn't open. Nicole cursed herself internally. He stared at her for a long moment, not angrily, not suspiciously, but like a man standing at the edge of a map he drew himself and noticing a landmark that shouldn't be there. "Something's wrong," he said, quietly. "No," she whispered. He tilted his head. Younger Keith used to do that when trying to decipher chords by ear. Older Keith did it when trying to decipher her. "Your eyes are different," he murmured. "You're looking at me like—" He stopped. "Like what?" she asked. He didn't answer. Instead, he sat down beside her on the edge of the bed, too close, too calm. "You had a dream," he said. It wasn't a question. It was a statement, a correction. Nicole felt her heart pound painfully. "I didn't have a dream." "You did," he insisted gently. "You look like you woke up from something heavy." "Keith, no." He touched her wrist, not forcefully, but with a stillness that terrified her more than anger could have. "What did you remember?" he asked softly. Every part of her froze. He wasn't asking if she remembered, he was asking what, as if the remembering itself was a foregone conclusion. Her voice trembled. "Why would you think I remembered something?" He smiled an oddly sad smile. "Because I know that look," he murmured.
The look you get when a piece of the past shakes loose. She swallowed. I wasn't remembering anything. He stared at her for another long, suffocating second. Then he let her wrist go. So you didn't listen, he said quietly. Nicole's blood turned to ice. She didn't breathe. She didn't blink. She only whispered, "What to listen to?" And Keith's expression changed so subtly it was almost imperceptible. A tiny shift in his jaw, a softening around his eyes, a long, slow inhale, recognition, acceptance, resignation, like a man who has already rehearsed this moment. "Nothing," he said, but his voice trembled. Nicole forced her tone to stay neutral. "Keith, what would I have listened to?" He shook his head. "There's nothing to find. That's not what I asked." He stood abruptly, too abruptly. "Nick, I need you to trust me right now." She almost laughed. Trust? After hearing her own voice whispering things she couldn't remember?
After a recording of her begging someone to remind her who she was, trust was the last thing she had left, and even that was bleeding out fast. Finally, he said very softly, "You're not supposed to open old wounds alone." The phrasing made her chest tighten painfully. Not, "You shouldn't," not, "Please don't," but "You're not supposed to." Like someone had set rules. Like he knew exactly what she'd found. Like he'd been waiting for this. Nicole whispered, "You knew." Keith closed his eyes. A muscle in his jaw flexed. "I hoped," he said quietly, "that you wouldn't find it yet." Ice spread through her limbs. "Find what?" she demanded. He didn't answer. He didn't deny. He didn't deflect. He simply looked at her with such devastating softness that it made her want to scream. And then he said the worst thing he could have said. "I'm not angry." Nicole burst into tears. Not because of guilt, but because of how deeply manipulative those 4 words felt. "I'm not angry" was what you said when you knew someone had done exactly what you expected. It was what you said to a child who had touched something forbidden. It was what you said to someone whose memory you knew was fragile. It was what you said when you wanted to guide the narrative. "Keith," she whispered, stepping back, "what did you hide from me?" He didn't move toward her. He didn't reach for her. He just spoke in a voice so calm it terrified her. And then he said the worst thing he could have said. "You're not ready to remember everything." Her breath left her lungs. "I already remembered," she said. "I heard myself. I heard the recording." His expression didn't change. Not shock, not fear, just quiet acceptance. Like a man bracing for a storm he always knew was coming. "Then," he said softly, "you know why I did what I did." Nicole shook her head violently. "No, I don't know anything anymore." Keith's voice broke. "Yes, you do," he whispered. "You know exactly why you left, and you know exactly why I had to bring you back." Nicole backed away from him like he was a stranger, because suddenly he was.